Right, well, it's that time of year again, isn't it? That time of year when we all like to sit around and discuss Nazis. Well, obviously not, but I do want to touch on the subject of Nazis this morning because I do want to talk about Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, and specifically some of the reactions it's had. And, well, some of them are pretty weird. Now, I've done a couple of other videos looking at the way in which people have reacted to certain games, most notably The Last of Us and then the trailer for The Last of Us 2. So this isn't a new area for me to look into, but I was quite surprised with the way people reacted to Wolfenstein 2. Specifically, it seems that some people have got their panties in a pickle because apparently the left pinko feminist agenda is infecting the game. And what's the evidence for this? Well, it's fairly sketchy evidence, but the first thing we got was people were talking about Blazkowicz and the fact that he seems to be weak at the start of the game. And, well, yeah, he is quite weak at the start of the game, primarily because he got blown up at the end of the last game and we all thought he was dead, so it's quite a surprise that he's actually living. But he is living, and he's weak. And he's even weaker because his wife, Anya, is pregnant with twins, and he cares about his wife, and he cares about his unborn children, and the fact that they might be growing up in the world that is run by Nazis. And apparently, caring about your wife and caring about your kids makes you into some sort of, and I quote, pufter. And I've come across this argument before in the past, and I've always felt it was a rather bizarre argument to describe someone as being ostensibly gay because they care about their heterosexual partner. And, well, one, I think that that's a ridiculous argument and the logic doesn't hold up. And two, even if Blazkowicz was gay, is that really an issue? Really? Today? Do people really have a problem with gay people? And does being gay make you weak? Because we've had plenty of examples of gay people who are perfectly able to look after themselves. So those two don't equate, do they? Let's be honest. Not if you're being logical. But apparently the pinko agenda doesn't stop there. Oh no. Not content with showing Blazkowicz as being a human who can have his body damaged, we have to then meet Grace. And Grace, oh dear, oh my God, what are we going to do? Grace is a woman, surprisingly. But not only is she a woman, she's a black woman. But it gets worse than that. Not only is she a black woman, when we first meet her, she's breastfeeding. She's got her breasts out and she's feeding a baby. Oh dear God, what are we going to do? You know what? I look at this and I look at people saying this and I think to myself, this has got something in common with Anita Sarkeesian. Because on the one hand, you've got Anita Sarkeesian saying that she doesn't want to see women sexualized and we don't want to see breasts and arse and all the rest of it. But then on the other side, you've got the people fighting against Anita Sarkeesian also saying that they don't want to see breasts when they're being used for their purpose, which is to feed children. Both groups, for whatever reason, are behaving like, well, total prudes. And it's almost like they're declaring welcome to the new Puritanism. It's ironic, isn't it? That these two groups that are at opposite ends of each other almost meet in the middle. How bizarre is that? But it gets even worse. At the end of the game, we've got Anya, and she's fighting against a mech dog thing. And her shirt catches fire, and she pulls off her shirt, and she's there, a pregnant woman with her breasts out, shooting this mech dog. And it's crazy. It's an insane scene. And I was looking at it with my jaw open, and it just summed up the game for me. The crazy, over-the-top elements of this game are just, well, they are. They're just totally crazy and over-the-top. And it's utterly fun as far as I'm concerned. But we get people, oh God, their eyes are almost getting burnt out because God forbid that you see a pregnant woman with her tits out. My God, where have these people been? Have they been living under a fucking rock all their lives or what? Because, you know, pregnant women have breasts because, as we've established, pregnant women have babies and then they feed their babies with their breasts. Oh, sorry, I hope up. I didn't offend anyone by saying that. So again, we've got this kind of prudish thing of, oh my God, save me. I don't want to see this. Both from the right and from the left. I don't know whether the people on the left of this looked at this and got offended by it, but I wouldn't be at all surprised. But we've got this guy, I was watching one video and this guy, he was almost having an aneurysm at this. And I was just laughing. It was hilarious how just utterly prudish some people are. And, you know, it just builds and builds for them, the poor snowflakes. I just feel so sorry for them that they have to put up with this. And then we've got Sigrun, who is Frau Engel's daughter, and she ends up allying herself to Blazkowicz and his group. And at one point, she's found having sex, and she's overweight. And so we've got this overweight woman having sex.
I'm sorry. Did you need this boat?
Oh dear God, it's awful that there's this overweight woman having sex. I hate to tell you this, guys, but, you know, overweight people, fat people, whatever you want to call them, they have sex too. Most people do at some point in their lives. Most people are going to have sex, whatever their body shape might be, whatever their gender might be, whatever their preferences might be. They're going to have sex. But it gets worse than that because this big woman is having sex with a black guy. And the comment I saw was because we can't have her having sex with a white guy because that would be racist. No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't be racist to have her having sex with a white guy any more than it's over the top showing her to have sex with a black guy, because I hate to tell you again, fat people have sex, but black people have sex, and black people have sex with white people sometimes as well. Surprisingly enough, that happens. But, you know, this is a game. Are you really going to get upset about something like that? Really? In a game? Grow up. Please, just grow up. But if we go back to Grace, the breastfeeding black woman who's already offended all these people, it gets even worse because then she calls Sigrun a Nazi.
What the fuck is she even doing here?
Grace, why? She's good people.
She's a fucking Nazi.
And apparently, calling Sigrun a Nazi is racist. Never mind the fact that Nazi isn't a race. It's a political movement. It's an ideology, a shitty ideology, but an ideology nonetheless. So when Grace calls Sigrun a Nazi, she isn't being racist. I hate to tell you this, but she's not being racist. She's being pretty mean, but then again, by the same token, she's got justification within the story for calling Sigrun a Nazi because she's Engel's daughter. And Engel is the uber-Nazi, if you like. She's about as Nazi as you're going to get. And the fact that Sigrun is her daughter is justification enough for Grace to think that she's a Nazi. And later on in the game, Grace actually comes round and she changes her opinion of Sigrun because Sigrun has helped out the cause and she's helped them fight against Frau Engel.
Can I stay here? I just can't be a part of what must be done.
It's okay, Sig. You've earned your keep. Now for the rest of y'all ready to start a revolution?
So, to be clear again, Grace is not being racist towards Sigrun. She's having a very reasonable and healthy distrust of her because of her background. And when Sigrun proves herself, Grace changes her opinion. That's not bloody racism on any level. Not if you've got any sense and you can think it through. So after watching several of these videos, I kind of got to the point where I'm thinking, you know, these guys really aren't thinking this through. They're doing exactly the same as the people that they're against. You know, some of the third wave feminists and some of the people on the left who see conspiracy everywhere. You know, some of the third wave feminists, they see patriarchy everywhere. Was it Anita Sarkeesian said, everything's racist, everything's sexist, everything's homophobic, and you've got to point it all out? Well, if you're looking for something, you will find it, as I think I've said in previous videos. And that's what's happening here with these guys. They're looking at Wolfenstein 2, and they're expecting to see an agenda infecting the game, and so that's what they're seeing. They're seeing that there's an agenda here. And as far as that goes, it's stupid, but hey, you know what? I couldn't care less, really. They're just being silly, and maybe at some point they'll grow up. But then I start to listen to what one guy has to say about the Hitler scene. And there is a scene where Blazkowicz goes to Venus, I think it is, and he meets up with Hitler, and he's auditioning to play himself, as it were. Sorry for the spoilers. And when he meets Hitler, Hitler's quite doddery, looks like he might be suffering from Alzheimer's, but he still is Hitler. And, you know, Hitler, psychotic maniac, you know, genocidal, killed millions of people. But apparently Wolfenstein 2 has stepped out of line because, in effect, it's misrepresenting the guy because they've got him pissing in a bucket. Do you know what? I couldn't give a shit. Hitler was responsible for the death of millions of people, Jews and other people. People who were infirm, people who disagreed with him for whatever reason, communists, whoever it might have been, Hitler had them put to death. So I couldn't give a fuck if he's misrepresented or not. The fact is, the guy was an arsehole who was responsible for deaths of millions of people. And if you have a problem and you think that he's being misrepresented, then I've got a problem with you. I've got a serious problem with you. Because you are supporting Hitler? You are standing up for Hitler? Fuck off.
Wunderbar! Wunderbar! We'll be right back with more from General Angle and Decapper after this.